LeetCode Problem 22, generate parentheses. So given n pair of parentheses, we have to write a function that generates all combinations of well-formed parentheses. Right. So example is 3, that you generate all of these, which are all correct parentheses, and they are all basically combinations. So I have one approach to this problem, and it is to use a backtrack method. So how this backtrack uses a backtrack method as well as a vector, right? So how this backtrack method works is it will, first of all, it will try to open brackets, and when it can't open brackets, it will close the brackets, right? So for example, uh, so my first, you try to open it, right? You try to open, and since it can open again, then you open. Since it can open again, then you open. And when you can't, then you close, close, close. So at this point, right? This is one solution. And on the next one, we backtrack. So we pop this, and then we pop this, and pop this, pop this, pop this. Right, sorry. Pop this, because we came from here, remember? And then the rest will just close brackets. So we stop here, and one more behind. And then from here, we try to close it, and then open a new, like, path, I guess you can see it, right? So we open a new bracket to try, and since this is valid, then it will continue on, right? So it's much clearer in my code, where, for example, I have a variable called open here, right? This keeps track of how many parentheses are open, and I have a variable called close, which keeps track of how many parentheses are closed. So we only open when the open value is less than n, and we only close when the close is less than open, right? So this is to prevent malformed parentheses. So using this example of 3, I can just show you how this algorithm works. So this is the output and the string, and I just run it into the backtrack to keep track of everything. This string is what will be forming the well-formed parentheses, right? So at first iteration, everything is empty, even the string is empty. Since open, which is 0, right? So let me keep track of open and then close. Also 0, 0. Since open is less than n, right? And it's 3. We push back opening parentheses, and then we run this backtrack function again with open plus 1, right? So now open is 1, and since 1 is less than 3, then you open again. So this will go on until open reaches 3, right? So it cannot open anymore, and then it comes to the next statement where open is more than close. In this case, open is more than close, right? Since 3 is more than 0, then it will push back the closing parentheses, right? Push back, and then it will backtrack again, call this function again, and then you skip this because open is equal to n. So you push back another one, push back, and push back. So we reach here. So eventually we have our first string, right? So we have our first string, and when we have our first answer, this will return, right? When close is equals to n, right? So this is when close is equal to 3, right? From here, so when close is equals to n, that means we have formed a combination, right? So when we form a combination, we return back to here, and then we pop back, right? pop back this, and then we return again, return to the previous backtrack, and it will pop up again. You pop back, close, and then pop back, close. So now close becomes 0 again, and then you'll be back to here, right? So this is where we start off from, right? And then it will pop back this opening parentheses, pop back, and then it will push back a closing parentheses, right? Push back closing parentheses, call the backtrack methods, and in this case, since our open, which is 2, is less than n, we'll open another parentheses, right? So open another parentheses, open now turns to 3, and then you will backtrack, skip this if statement, go to this if statement, right? Because open is more than close, and it will close the parentheses, backtrack again, and close the final one, right? So this is another solution, right? Keep in mind that every time we form a combination, it will push back into our answer vector. So eventually we will have all of these combinations through this brute force method. So that's basically how my algorithm works. That's all I have to show. Thanks.